All right, let's do these three examples. We have the power of a product. So here we have a product and we've got it raised to a power. And we just apply that power, the exponent, to both the a and the b, however many terms we have. And I think this will make sense. So in this example here, x, y, quantity cubed, the property says to say, well, this is going to be x cubed, y cubed. Now, why does that work the way it does? Think about what this means. What does it mean to cube something? It just means I'm going to have xy times xy times another xy. I've got 3 copies of what's being cubed. Well, I can use a bunch of my commutative properties, associative properties to combine these. So if I put my like bases together, I've got x times x times x, which is x cubed, and then y times y times y, which is y cubed. So that's sort of a motivation as to why that property works. Okay, try it on this one. 2ab quantity squared. So I'm going to square each part of this. So this is going to be 2 squared. It helps write out 2 squared times a squared times b squared. And so when these numbers are relatively small, we want to go ahead and square that out. 4a squared b squared. It's up to your professor when to do that. Now, for me, when this number gets beyond about 4 or 5 digits, I just go ahead and leave it in the exponentiated form. So if that were like 8 to the 17th power, I'm just going to leave it as 8 to the 17th. Just writing out that big number doesn't really do anything for me. Now, occasionally, it sort of depends on the situation. You may need that number. Okay, one more in here. So 3y cubed squared. So we're going to say 3 squared, which is 9. And then y cubed squared. Recall, I'm going to multiply those together. So 3 times 2 is 6. So we normally don't write out everything when we're doing this, but we could. So 3 squared y to the 3 times 2, and then that'll get you the answer. This is sort of what we're doing in our head. In the beginning, you may need to sort of write some stuff out. But after you do a few of these, you should be able to do some of the mental math when the numbers are particularly single digit. Hope that helps.